Hey ChatGPT, are women in Islam oppressed? Women aren't forced to wear hijab, right? They also aren't made to marry someone they don't like. Check the Quran and Hadith, then reply in 30 seconds.
Quran 2:256 states, "There is no compulsion in religion. The right course has become clear from the wrong. So whoever renounces false gods and believes in Allah has certainly grasped the firmest, unfaltering hand. And Allah is hearing and knowing." This verse emphasizes the importance of free will in matters of faith, highlighting that belief in Allah should come from conviction rather than coercion. Clearly, in Islam, both the Quran and Hadith emphasize that women have free will and should give their consent. The Quran states there is no compulsion in religion, Quran 2:256, meaning wearing hijab is a personal choice. For marriage, it's taught that a woman must agree to marry, Hadith, Sahih al-Bukhari. So, women aren't forced into hijab or unwanted marriages, though cultural practices can sometimes create misunderstandings.
Alright, do women in Islam have equal rights? Look at the Quran and Hadith and reply in 30 seconds.
Clearly, in Islam, women have many rights, such as the right to education, ownership, and participating in society. The Quran confirms equality in spiritual value, Quran 33:35, and stresses fairness in marriage and inheritance, Quran 4:32. The Hadith also emphasizes treating women with respect. However, how these rights are applied can differ widely across cultures, leading to varied experiences for women in the Muslim world.
In some Muslim countries, such as Pakistan, there have been female heads of state. Is that correct? What about the USA? Please respond in 30 seconds.
Clearly, yes. Countries like Pakistan have had female heads of state, such as Benazir Bhutto, who served as prime minister. In the USA, there has not yet been a woman elected as president.
Hey ChatGPT, is it true that the first person to embrace Islam was a woman named Khadijah? The first person to die for Islam was a woman named Sumaya? The first Muslim scholar was a woman named Aisha? May Allah peace and blessings them all.
Clearly, yes. Each of these statements is true within Islamic tradition. Khadijah, she was the first person to embrace Islam, supporting the Prophet Muhammad both personally and financially. Sumaya, often recognized as the first martyr in Islam, she faced persecution for her faith and ultimately died for it. Aisha, she is regarded as one of the first Muslim scholars, known for her intelligence and contributions to Islamic teachings, particularly in Hadith. May Allah shower His mercy onto all of them.
Is it true that the first university was founded by two Muslim sisters? Fatima al-Fihri established the world's first university, al-Qarawiyyin, in 895 CE in Fez, Morocco, using her inheritance from her father.
Clearly, yes, it is true that Fatima al-Fihri is credited with founding the world's first true university, al-Qarawiyyin, in 895 CE in Fez, Morocco. After inheriting her father's wealth, she dedicated her resources to establishing the institution, which has played a significant role in the history of education. Al-Qarawiyyin is recognized by UNESCO and the Guinness World Records as the oldest existing degree-granting university in the world. Her sister, Maryam, also contributed to the establishment, highlighting the important roles women have played in education and scholarship in Islamic history.
Thank you so much, ChatGPT. Let's dive deeper into this chapter together with Jack and Wilson. Hey everyone, before we get started, I noticed in my YouTube channel analytics that many of you watching aren't subscribed. If you could do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. It motivates me and helps the channel grow, so I can create more videos like the one you're about to see. Also, as some of you requested, my team has launched a website where you can read my books and find transcripts of all my videos in the form of small booklets. The link is in video description. We're working hard to produce informative videos daily, along with books and transcripts. I'd love your help in spreading dawah, calling to Allah's message. Please click the join button to show your support. Now, let's dive in.
Hey everyone, we're diving into a topic today that I think a lot of you are really interested in learning more about, and that's the view of women in Islam. And to do that, we'll be focusing on a single source, a YouTube video. It's called Islam vs. Women with Lily J. Up 1.
Oh.
And what's really interesting about this video is that it's actually a conversation between a host and an AI chatbot, ChatGPT. So I think we're going to uncover some interesting facts and maybe some surprising connections to other religions and cultures.
Yeah, that sounds really fascinating. What's the video's main starting point?
Well, the video kicks off by really emphasizing a crucial Islamic principle, and that's free will. In fact, the host actually states that Islam is free choice. And I thought that was so powerful, that statement, because it really sets the stage for the entire discussion.
Yeah, it really does, because that really directly challenges the stereotype that Islam is kind of this rigid, oppressive system, especially for women.
Right, exactly. And that idea of free choice kind of leads directly into the discussion of hijab. Now, I know you're interested in how this practice is viewed within Islam itself, and the video actually provides some really great insights into this.
Yeah, I am. Because there's so much debate surrounding the hijab, both within and outside of Muslim communities. So I'm very curious to hear what the video highlights.
Well, the video explains that for many Muslim women, the hijab is a deeply personal decision. It represents devotion and dignity. It's not about being forced or controlled, but about choosing to express their faith and identity.
Okay, so that really resonates with that concept of free will that we were just talking about. So the video argues that the hijab can be a form of empowerment for some women.
Exactly. The AI chatbot even chimes in, saying that many Muslim women see the hijab as giving them control over their own narrative. You know, they're choosing to highlight their inner qualities rather than conforming to societal pressures about appearance.
That's a really fascinating perspective, because it suggests that empowerment can have different meanings for different individuals and cultures.
Absolutely. But the video doesn't shy away from the complexities. It addresses the fact that some countries enforce hijab laws. And this seems to kind of contradict this idea of personal choice, right?
Yeah, that's a really important point to bring up. So how does the video reconcile those seemingly conflicting realities?
Well, it draws a clear distinction between cultural practices and religious tenets. There's a quote that really stood out to me. It says, countries that enforce the hijab often mix cultural traditions or political agendas with Islamic principles, contradicting Islam's core teachings of choice and worship.
Oh, that's an important distinction to make. So the video is saying that while some governments might mandate the hijab, that doesn't necessarily reflect the core principles of Islam itself.
Exactly. And to kind of reinforce that point, the video highlights a verse from the Quran. There is no compulsion in religion. And this really underscores that genuine faith should stem from free will, not coercion.
That makes a lot of sense. It seems like the video is advocating for a more nuanced understanding of the hijab, moving beyond those kind of simplistic interpretations.
Yes. And then, get this, the video goes on to draw parallels between the hijab and head coverings in other religions. It even brings up Christianity.
Oh, wow. Really? I'm curious to hear about that. What kind of connections does it make?
Well, it points to depictions of Mother Mary, wearing a head covering. And it even quotes a verse from the Bible, 1 Corinthians 11.5, which talks about women covering their hair during prayer.
Oh, interesting. I never thought about that. It really challenges that assumption that head coverings are exclusive to Islam, right?
Right.
Are there any other examples that they bring up?
Yeah. It also mentions nuns who choose to wear head coverings as a symbol of their faith, And it even expands the discussion to include Hinduism and Buddhism, noting the presence of veils and modest dress in their cultural and religious practices.
So it seems like modesty in attire has a long history across various cultures and religions, not just Islam. It really broadens the perspective, doesn't it?
It really does. And then the video takes another unexpected turn. It starts exploring whether revealing clothing actually empowers women or if it contributes to objectification.
Oh, wow. That's a really thought-provoking question. How does the video approach that?
Well, the AI chatbot reveals that retail and e-commerce are the biggest money-making industries in the U.S. And many of them are built around, selling beauty and fashion.
I see where this is going. So they're suggesting that, there's this link between the pressure to conform to certain beauty standards and the financial success of these industries.
Exactly. The host argues that these industries might actually profit by selling a certain ideal of beauty, potentially conditioning women to seek validation from their physical appearance rather than their true purpose.
That's an interesting take. It kind of challenges us to think critically about where our ideas about beauty come from, and whether they are truly our own.
It really makes you stop and think. And then the video shifts gears again, focusing on the concept of equality within Islam. The AI chatbot confirms that men and women are considered equal in spiritual worth and have the same potential for rewards from God.
Oh, okay.
They even quote a verse from the Quran to support this.
Okay, can you share that verse?
Yeah, it's Quran 33.35. And it basically emphasizes the spiritual equality of men and women in the eyes of God.
So it challenges the misconception that that women are seen as like somehow lesser than men in Islamic teachings, right?
Absolutely. And to further emphasize this point, the video highlights a hadith from the Prophet Muhammad. And this is a beautiful hadith. It says, "Indeed, your women have the same rights over you as you have over them."
That's a powerful statement about mutual respect and rights. But I'm curious, how does the video address the concept of like gender roles within this framework of equality?
That's where it gets really interesting, because the video makes a clear distinction between equality and identical roles. The AI chatbot actually states that equality in Islam doesn't mean that men and women have the same roles. Instead, it suggests that Islam advocates for complementary roles based on differing strengths and responsibilities.
Okay, so it's not saying that men and women should be like interchangeable in all aspects of life.
Not at all. It's more about recognizing the unique qualities and contributions of both genders and how they can work together to create a harmonious society. For example, the hadith mentioning paradise lying under a mother's feet. That really highlights the elevated status of motherhood in Islam.
That's a beautiful image. It speaks to the, the crucial role that women play in nurturing and raising future generations. Does the video delve into any other specific examples of these so-called complementary roles?
It does. It talks about rights within marriage. The video clarifies that women in Islam can't be forced to cook, clean, or work. Their husbands are actually financially responsible for providing and protecting the family.
Okay, so it challenges the assumption that Islam relegates women to like purely domestic roles.
Exactly. It reinforces this concept of shared responsibility within a marriage.
Yeah.
With each partner contributing in different but equally important ways.
Yeah.
And then it wraps up by highlighting something truly remarkable: the revolutionary changes Islam brought for women's rights, especially when compared to pre-Islamic Arabia.
Oh, that's right. I'm interested to hear more about that, that historical context. That's something that often gets overlooked.
Yeah, so the video explains that before Islam, women in many societies, including pre-Islamic Arabia, were basically treated as property. They were denied inheritance, subjected to forced marriages, and even faced infanticide.
Wow, it's hard to imagine, the level of oppression they face. So how does the video contrast that with the arrival of Islam?
Well, it emphasizes the transformative impact that Islam had on women's rights. It brought about rights to education, inheritance, financial independence, and consent in marriage. Many of these rights were unheard of in other parts of the world at that time.
So it really challenges the narrative that Islam inherently oppresses women. It seems like it actually played a key role in advancing women's rights, at least in that specific historical context.
It really did. And that's what I find so fascinating about this video, is it really sheds light on the complexities and nuances, surrounding the view of women in Islam. It pushes back against common stereotypes and encourages viewers to think critically.
It's definitely been a thought-provoking deep dive. What stood out to you the most from all of this?
I think the biggest takeaway for me is the emphasis on individual agency and interpretation within Islam. The video clearly shows that cultural practices don't always align with the religion's core principles. And that's something really important to remember.
Yeah, for sure. It reminds us that we can't make generalizations about any religion or culture. There's always more to the story than meets the eye.
Absolutely. And I think this deep dive raises an important question for all of you listening to consider. Given the emphasis on free will and choice within Islam, how might differing interpretations of these principles within various cultures impact the lives of Muslim women globally?
Yeah, that's a really profound question. It encourages us to acknowledge the diversity of experiences, among Muslim women worldwide, and to approach this topic with sensitivity and an open mind.
Exactly. And I think we've only just scratched the surface here, so I encourage all of you to keep exploring this topic and continue challenging your own assumptions. There's a whole world of knowledge out there waiting to be discovered.
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast. I hope you've gained some valuable insights. If you're a truth seeker, yearning for divine light and ready to step out of darkness, now is your moment. The truth is that Allah is the one and only creator of the universe. He has sent over 124,000 messengers and prophets to guide humanity, starting with Adam and culminating with the final messenger, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all. If you resonate with this message, you might be ready to embrace Islam. Simply recite the Shahada, the Islamic declaration of faith. For further support, feel free to join our WhatsApp group. You can send us a private message there. The link is in the video description. Don't wait until it's too late. We look forward to connecting with you soon.